Hi guys, it's Misty here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am going to share a card I made. It's a Halloween card using the stamp set called Apothecary by Stampers Anonymous. It's a Tim Holtz collection, which will be pretty obvious here when you see the whole set, but I'm just using cream colored cardstock as my background, and I'm using Ranger's Archival Jet Black ink. And part of that stamp set is this really cool writing stamp. I absolutely love the stamp. So I'm just going to randomly stamp it all over my background here. Don't really have any rhyme or reason where I'm stamping it. I'm just kind of stamping it wherever I felt like it. And I made it pretty large because I had no idea where I was going with this card. I usually don't when I start to record a video, so I started out with a 6x6, and then I'm going to end up cutting it down, the background, to 4x5. See there, it's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to use some Distress ink to go around the edges of this. I'm using Dusty Concord, and I did actually have some guidance. I shouldn't say I didn't know where I was going. I mean, I really didn't, but I had a card in mind that I saw on the Ranger Ink website that I used as my inspiration. Um, I have a link to that card on my blog if you want to check out what I was looking at. But so I'm just going to go around this whole thing, darker on the edges, lighter on the inside, and then I'm going to add some black soot around that. See there's the other stamp, that skull. I love that skull. I think it's really cool. This command, what is it? Command damage-free wall stuff is all I use on the back of my big Distress ink pads. I just cut a little square off, and the foam, the foam thing sticks perfect to it. So it works nice. So yes, I'm trying to figure out what to do here. So first I thought I wanted the black just on the very, very edge of the background, and then I changed my mind and decided I wanted it to, go a little bit more in to the center of the card, towards the center of the card. So it's a really nice kind of dark purple around the edges, and then it has a dark black around that. So I knew I wanted to use the skull. I knew I wanted to use a Happy Halloween stamp, but I just didn't quite know how to make it all work. I don't have the dies for these, so yeah, I wasn't quite sure what to do. You'll see me kind of hemming and hawing throughout the video. I know this video is kind of long. There's a lot of steps to this card, so I think this video is 16 minutes. Hopefully I won't lose you along the way. I'll try not to make my videos this long anymore. I wanted to share everything I did with you. All right, so I knew I wanted a black background, so I just didn't know how to do that Happy Halloween. So that's what I keep, when you see me stuttering, that's what I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put that Happy Halloween onto a card. So I'm going to stamp the skull twice, and the video that I was using for inspiration is how I learned how to do this 3D skull. It turns out really cool looking. So it's actually two skulls. So I used the mini Misty because I'm using the archival jet black ink, and I wasn't sure. I wanted it to be really, really black, and I wasn't sure if I was going to have to stamp it twice, but it turns out I didn't. I only had to stamp it once, and I had a pretty nice crisp image. So I was happy with that. I love the intense black ink by Simon Says Stamp, but I always have to stamp it twice. And it's pretty intense after, it's nice after the second stamp, but I wish it would do that after one stamp, but that's okay. I still use it for most of my stuff. So yep, I only had to stamp it once, got a nice crisp black image. And then I'm going to use my Brother Scan and Cut to cut these bad boys out. I just love this stamp. I think this is my favorite stamp. We love skulls here in our our household. We have a skull that hangs out above our garage year round. His name is Dexter. So I have no idea what I'm pointing at, but I'm going to take a Copic multiliner here and go around both images because there was some openings in the top of the skull, and with the Brother Scan and Cut, any openings, it's going to want to go in and cut into where the opening is. So I just went around both images with the black liner and made sure there was no openings. I could have fussy cut these out. I think they would have been pretty easy to cut out, but I don't know. I love using my Scan and Cut. And I wanted it right on the line. I didn't want a white border around them. I'm getting better at fussy cutting though. Wasn't very good at it for quite a while. It's all in the scissors, right? Well, no. I guess it's in how you turn it when you're cutting it. I think that's what it is. And I think I know what I was pointing at. I have no idea why I cut these. I could have just put them on the mat and had the mat cut them. I don't know why I do the things I do sometimes. But I think what I was pointing at is that I wanted to get rid of that letter in the, not even in the forehead, the letters around it. See, there's a bunch of letters. It looks like, I don't know, something you'd see like in an anatomy book or something where they have a letter and then it, tells you what the name of that part is or something. There's a big letter in the forehead, but around the jawbone here is what I wanted to get rid of because I knew the Scan and Cut would try to cut them. So I just took a white gel pen and went over it. White out would have worked too because the image is going to be cut right on the line, so you're not even going to know I did it. And look how nicely that cut out. It's beautiful. I don't know why, if this is weird, but I just think there's something beautiful about skulls. I want my next tattoo to be something with a skull. Not a big, scary, manly skull, but not a girly skull either. I don't know. I just want my next one to be something with a skull. So I'm going to cut out the eyes, nose, and mouth with this little finger blade. And it is a miracle I didn't cut my finger off doing this because I don't do this very often. Once I kind of got a rhythm going, and it's just like fussy cutting. I turned the image instead of trying to turn the blade so much. Then it cut out perfectly. I mean, I don't think I could have cut it out, any better. So the eyes, I was leaning over the image when I cut out the eyes, so I had to lose that part of the video, as otherwise all you'd see is the back of my head. So I'm just going to use some Distress inks to age the skulls. And I'll list it over on my blog all the colors I used and when I used them. So I just want to age the skull a little bit. Skull. Nobody knows what I'm saying when I say skull. I think I say school. Don't know why. Is that how you say it? Skull. Anyway, I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the solid skull. Now I'm gonna have to think about it every time I say it. I'm gonna do the exact same thing to it because the one that I cut the parts out is gonna go on top of the solid one, and it's gonna be on foam adhesive, so you're still gonna be able to see the bottom one. So I just wanted to do the same thing to the bottom one as I do the top. And this is really stupid of me here. Okay, so my excuse is, though, it was probably about 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I was doing this part of it, and I wasn't thinking clearly, because if I were, I would have used a finger dauber to do these areas around the eye sockets and around the mouth. A finger dauber would have worked so much easier than this big, awkward circle sponge. But nope, I had to make it difficult on myself. That's the story of my life. And I wasn't up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I got up that early. It was because I hadn't gone to bed yet. I made this right before a craft fair I did Labor Day weekend. And when I get stressed, I just keep making cards, card after card. All right, so I'm just gonna add some final aging colors to the bottom skull. And then I still want to, I'm gonna yellow the teeth a little bit. Okay, so on this one, I wasn't really happy with the way the back one turned out. It was too dark. Another thing that would work good besides a finger dauber is the distressing markers would have worked really good for the eye sockets and the teeth and stuff, but I didn't have the colors I wanted. I made this card again after this and turned it into a baby shower card, and it turned out much better. I wasn't so heavy on the, the yellowing and stuff. I might add it, I'll add it to the end of this video so you can see what it looked like. All I did is I just took off the Happy Halloween and put a baby sentiment on the inside. So now I'm just going to add a bunch of foam adhesive to the back of the top skull. And don't judge, but I'm going to add a lot of foam adhesive here. Yeah, I told you it was a lot. I didn't know if this was going to be mailed or hand delivered, so I just prepared it to be mailed. I've had bad luck with our post office. My cards get completely damaged when I don't put enough foam adhesive on the back of my card fronts. So that's why I like to use the fun foam most of the time and just do the whole card front. Just cover the whole card front with foam. But this one was kind of hard. It's not just a standard shape. So, okay, so I had this part of the card done, and I knew I wanted a black background, but I still didn't know what to do with the Happy Halloween. I felt like I was limited. I was thinking heat embossing was really the only option I had because of the black. So I just kept trying to figure out what to do. And then I got a bright idea, and I remembered I cut off quite a bit of the background, and when I held it up to it, it actually fit pretty perfectly. So that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. That's how I was going to get my Happy Halloween on there. So I just took the extra strip and did the same thing I did to the big part of it. I just distressed it with the purple and the black, Dusty Concord and Black Soot. And I know I'm heavy on the ink. I was before too, because I just, I want to make sure I get a good image stamped. And now thinking about it, I totally could have heat embossed that. That would have been, I think it would have looked really cool if I used black embossing powder over the Happy Halloween. Next time, I guess. So I'm just trying to match it up to that top part, make the colors look as close as I could. I saved this part for last because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how I was gonna make this work. So I was pretty happy when I finally figured it out. All right, now I'm just gonna add some final touches here. I decided I wanted to put fun foam behind both pieces here. So not only is the skull have some dimension, but now the whole card front will. And then I added some water droplets just for some extra appeal. I always add water drops. I love how Distress ink reacts to water and water drops. I think it looks really cool. Then I use the Be Creative double-sided adhesive. I use that most of the time, well actually all the time when I use Fun Foam. It's just a really good adhesive. I was just happy when I finally figured out that Happy Halloween. Just kept putting it off, and hoping something would come to mind. So anyway, now I'm just gonna just put it all together. I use what did the background, the black part, and the card base is made with, it's a nice thick black cardstock. It's a basil twisted licorice, I think, or liquid licorice twist, one of those two. But it's a nice solid black cardstock. So the overall size ended up being 5.5 by 6. I know it's kind of an odd shape, but that's the great thing about making these cards is you can pretty much make it any size you want. And once I knew what I wanted on the card, then that's just the size it ended up being. So I put I cut a label out to put on the inside and distress that too. You can, if you jump over to my blog, you'll see the inside, but just to give it some extra thickness. This is not the Nina 110 pound cardstock that I usually use, so I like to add something on the inside. Well, you have to when it's black, otherwise you won't be able to write in it. But anyway, that pretty much wraps up my card. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the like button, and if you want to see more of my videos, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. I've also added 2 additional videos below this one that you can click on, and it'll take you to those videos. They're both card videos as well. Again, thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye!